This is the fraction review, part 8. We have multiplied and divided fractions, and we learned their one set of rules. One of the things that happens a whole lot in math is that multiplication and division have their rules, and addition and subtraction have separate rules. It happens over and over and over and over again in math. So what we have here is we were going to add and subtract. We have to worry about whether they are like fractions or unlike. And what we mean by that is whether or not the denominator is the same. If the denominator is the same, then what we do is we either add across the top and keep the denominator the same when it's an addition, or we subtract across the top, keep the denominator the same when it is a subtraction. Okay? Then you reduce it. There is no way to reduce these before we do the calculations. There is no cross cancellation. You can't do it. You have to reduce it at the end. Okay? So let's look at 11 over 17 plus 3 over 17. We have the same denominator. So what we do is we add across the top 11 plus 3 over 17. 11 plus 3 would be 14 over 17. And then we ask ourselves if our answer will reduce. And 17 is a prime number, and 14 does not divide into 17, so that is as good as that one gets. Okay? So let's go on here. Let's try 6/11ths minus 2/11ths. Again, you have a common denominator already. They are like fractions. That denominator stays the same. And then we do 6 minus 2. And that will be 4 over 11. That does not reduce. Just a note. Do not get in the habit of writing your fractions like this. These are called shilling fractions, and they cause big problems later on. So don't write your fractions like that. Make sure you write them with a flat fraction bar, and make sure that your fraction bar goes far enough. If you get in these habits now, when we get into chapter, I think it's chapter 7, and it will be a whole lot easier for you. Okay, so let's try one more. 15 over 12 minus 13 over 12. They have a 12 in the denominator, both of them, so it's going to be 12 here. We do 15 minus 13, which is 2. So I have 2 over 12. And both of those are even numbers, so I can divide both of these by 2. And I get 1 over 6. So your answer would be 1/6. Okay, so what do we have to do if we do not have the same denominator? We talked early on about writing things as equivalent fractions. We talked about how they have the same value, how we could reduce them, that kind of stuff. I mean, 2/12 is equivalent to 1 over 6. It's talking about the same value. What we have to do if we do not have the same denominator is we have to figure out a way to write our fractions with the same denominator. We're generally going to be looking for what we call the least common denominator, or the LCD. And that is the smallest number that both of the original denominators divide into evenly. Okay, we're going to be talking a lot more about this, about how to find them. Ideally, you find the smallest one, but any common denominator will technically work. Okay, so in the next part, we're going to start working with these problems and finding common denominators and writing them.